All right, guys, let's rock and roll. Welcome back to another episode of Sex, Drugs, and Soul. Today, I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to chatting with this woman for a few weeks now. It's Susan Bratton. She's an intimacy expert to millions, with an M, millions. And she's an author of 44 books. So we had an idea of what we were going to talk about, and we completely threw it out the window and like dropped in for a few minutes before kicking off this podcast and decided that we were going to give you like a more intimate, deep conversation, kind of like you're a fly on the wall and about inside scoop or insight into my current dating life. So it's going to be a little vulnerable or more vulnerable than some episodes. And she's all about expanding our pleasure potential and what mindset we bring to our relationships and sexuality and sensuality. I'm super excited about this deep personal conversation. We're both two sexual sovereign women from two different generations, and I am open and malleable to be guided. So I'm super pumped. Thank you. I'm a little nervous, but I'm also pumped. It's like that exciting hummingbird heart feeling.
Oh, I love hummingbird heart.
Mm,
That's so sweet. Well, it was just that was like the pivotal moment when we started talking, and I've been looking forward to our conversation. And thank you for having me. Thanks for inviting me on. When you said to me, I have a date this weekend with a couple, and I have a local lover as well. And I thought to myself, "Oh boy, can I give you some good advice?" And I think it's so nice that you're willing to be so vulnerable about what you're doing because
mhm.
I've been married for 34 years, but I've been open for over 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and, so I've been through every permutation of every branch of the tree of consensual, ethical non-monogamy that there
Mm.
is. I
Mhm.
have tried every flavor, and I've recently been enjoying the moniker relationship anarchy
Mhm.
because
Yes.
it's like, okay, well, what does everybody in this, what we would have called a polycule, what does everybody in this collected group of people who are around me and loving me and I'm loving them, what do they all want? Because it's always going to be different. Every person's so
Mhm.
different. They want and have different needs in the relationship. One of the 44 books and programs, I'm a publisher of passionate lovemaking techniques. And one of the 44 books and programs that I publish, 34 of them are my own work. 10 of them are the work of my mentors whose lineages I am lucky enough to carry on.
Mm.
So I carry on some really incredible experiences for people. And one of them is about seduction. And that was what you originally asked me to come on to talk about, stealth seduction, because that intrigued you, which is interesting. But one of the other books that's probably one of my most popular because it's one I can actually go on television to talk about because television is allergic to sex. Like they'll have
Mhm.
crazy sexual, you know, um movies that show patriarchal style sex, but you can't go on a morning show and talk about anything. So I had to build a relationship book to get on TV. And the book
Mhm.
that I built was essentially a workbook that helps you figure out what it is you want most
Mm.
out of your relationship.
Mhm.
And then how to help your partner figure out or partners, what
Mhm.
they want most so you can meet them in their desire for having the experience with you that satisfies them.
Mhm.
So, like, what I want is I need security because 'cause I'm a woman and I don't walk safe in the world, especially as a
Mm.
sexpert, but I want freedom because 'cause I'm a sexually sovereign woman.
Mhm.
I want honesty because I can't navigate without complete and total honesty, even if it makes me look bad, you look bad, shit look bad. I don't care. I want to
Mhm.
fucking know what's going on at all times because it keeps me safe and helps me be free.
Mhm.
And I want variety, novelty. Oh my God, can you see a theme here? Like that's what I want. That's not what my husband wants, or my boyfriend wants, or my girlfriend wants.
Mhm.
They have totally different relationship values. So once we all know our values and we get up every day and we meet the needs of ourself and our partners, and we just focus on giving them what they want, not treating them the way we wanna be treated, but the way they wanna be treated. My television hook was
Mm.
they would tee me up, they'd show me in the green room, and they'd be like, "Coming up next, intimacy expert to millions, Susan Bratton, on why the golden rule might be ruining your relationship or mucking up your marriage,"
Oh.
right? And they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, what's the golden rule? Do unto others as you have them do unto you." It's
Mhm.
pro quo. That shit don't scale, right? It doesn't work. But the platinum rule, treat your
Mm.
partner the way they wanna be treated and have them do
Mhm.
for you. That really resonated with people. So it was a really good hook because I know you're a
Mhm.
writer, and we writers, we love our sticky hooks, right? And I just think that's really like relationship anarchy is the new relationship. My little book was called My Relationship Magic. It's at
Mm.
myrelationshipmagic.com. Don't buy it on Amazon. Buy it for a third the price that my
Mhm.
relationship it's just a downloadable workbook. And it was just so funny that relationship anarchy is kind of to me the next generation of my book relationship.
Mhm. I love the concept of relationship anarchy. I just think that it values everybody's, gives equal weight to every person that's gonna be in an interaction, and there's a part of me that's always been a rebel too, that I'm like, "Okay, there's something that I
Me
like
too,
about
girl.
the word anarchy," or doing things that,
Yeah.
my own way, dancing to the beat of my own drum and versus, like,
Yes.
what society tells me or how I should show up. And
Exactly.
so, like, there's just something I'm like, "Okay, this is juicy." I'm like, "I might have to download this workbook before I go to Mexico with my couple,"
Right. Oh, I'll
because
just
I'm
send
like,
it
"We
to
we
you,
got some
honey. I'll
homework
send
to do,
it to you.
babes."
Yeah, I will send it to you. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah. And, so it's fun and exciting and it's new. I'm just in a time period in my life where, I'm exploring and I don't wanna, like, fixate a story or, like, a future possible outcome onto or an assumption on someone. I'd rather go in with clarity and openness, and I've been open with both dynamics as far as, like, "Hey, this is where I'm at right now. Might change, but this is what's lighting me up. This is what's turning me on. Um, I'm cool if it's not cool with you, but I just want to be, authentic, open, and honest with you and take that girl going forward. And I know I value depth, no matter, which container it's in, whether it's with the couple, whether it's with my lover in Austin. I'm like, how much
Right.
I was going to give a detail. I was like, I don't know if I want to say that exact detail, but yeah, so any kind of insider guidance as far as how to know it's very new.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think prior, I think I used to try to fit myself and as a square into a round hole or something like, and so and like what? But I didn't even realize that polyamory or open relationships or relationship anarchy was a thing. I grew up in the Bible Belt and like all of this scenarios. But I always felt like I had so much love in my heart to give.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's pros and cons or challenges or light and shadow to every different dynamic. But if you're approaching it with honesty and intentionality, I mean, I really think it's like a breeding ground for something really beautiful to blossom.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
eh,
like maturity.
mm.
A real breeding
But I
ground
also
for
want to be immature
maturity.
too,
Oh
or at
god,
least
yeah.
playful, yeah,
Playful.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
yeah, I know. I think that's very important. Yeah, the idea of being in a triad is really, really fun, and I've had over 1,000 threesomes.
What?
So, I could definitely give you some things that I've done that have worked really well for me.
Mhm.
And, I also love that you have now you called it a cuddle partner, your lover a cuddle partner. I call it a research partner. I
Oh.
basically, and I got that from Dr. Patty Taylor, one of my mentors whose lineages I carry on. She's the one that taught me about the stealth seduction, and she's also the one that, bequeathed me the expanded orgasm practice, which is a
Mm.
clitoral stroking technique
Is that
that
like the Om
allows you
stuff? Okay.
it is.
Okay.
Was stolen from that same
Oh,
lineage.
okay.
And, but Om is a very transactional type of clit stroking technique. It's the same strokes. The downside is that it was very transactional and
Mm.
that group is currently
Mhm.
in court
Mhm.
for, uh, bad practices.
Mhm.
So I don't say it's oming.
Mhm.
Because what the version of the stroke technique that I teach is, it comes from the original
Mm.
Morehouse, but it's got a more Kashmiri Shaivist tantra, approach, which is much more deep and heart connected.
Mm,
My what I write and publish are passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills and intimate health and wellness. And my brand of sex techniques that is heart connected, conscious,
mm,
passionate lovemaking.
mhm,
That's the descriptor that I've used in my whole journey to describe the step-by-step approach I take to teaching you expanded orgasm skills, pleasure practices. Everything has to come from heart and consciousness. And
mhm,
so the expanded orgasm practice is a really interesting one because it is the practice, a sex technique that gives you the ability to touch, to feel,
mm,
palpably feel your connection to, choose your favorite word, source, Gaia,
mhm,
God, consciousness, whatever it might be. That friggin' clit stroke helps you realize that it's an ecstatic connection to source,
mhm,
and it's in a conjoined trance state with a lover.
mm,
And the original creators of this technique, they had a sex cult where they did this to each other. This is what people do. They learn how to connect to God, and they're like, "Let's all do this to each other." And, and I mean, you can't blame them,
Let's
right? Like, if
research.
I yeah, and so they had established this concept of the research partner
Mm,
where you don't necessarily they don't have to be the fucking one, you know what I mean? They can be a cuddle partner, a research partner, someone who comes and strokes your clit to God, and
mhm,
that's your boundary. Like, "Yes, come over to my house, stroke my clit so I can touch source with
mhm,
you,
mm,
and let's go on this journey together." And we'll have dinner after, and that's, like, the container of our relationship or wherever your boundaries are.
mhm,
And that's another thing that I wanted to tell you as well is that I really think that boundaries are the path to being completely loved.
mhm,
And here's why. I was recently, a few years ago, my husband and I were in a relationship with a person, and I ended up not liking her over time. I
mm,
ended up being worried about her. I ended up worrying about her taking advantage of my very genius, but emotionally simple in some ways partner,
mm,
very kind and sweet,
mhm,
could be hurt, not wily, not savvy that way, and she was wily and savvy, and she worried me, and for a long time and I thought, "That bitch gonna take my man." And I thought it
mm,
to myself, but I was doing like, "I'm gonna be in compersion, and I'm going to allow, and I'm gonna be fine with what is," and, I would say my boundaries, and they would break them, and
mm,
I was like, "Well, I should just let them do what they want." And then, at the end of that whole thing, when it turned out to be a fucking disaster that almost ruined my marriage, like, I had to
mhm,
put it all on the line, and the
mhm,
mistake I made was I fucking knew it, and I
mm,
didn't hold my boundaries,
mm,
and when you hold your boundaries, when you say, "It's okay with me if you do this, but it's not okay with me if you do these things," and they do
mhm,
those things, and they
mm,
breach your boundaries, or you're with your couple and you're like, "Here are a couple of things that I just don't want to happen," and somebody does one of them. Like, I'll give you a really weird example. One of the things that I'm fussy about is that if I'm in a threesome with another woman, I don't like my partner to penetrate me and that woman without cleaning up between them. I
mhm,
don't want her vaginal microbiome mixing
mhm,
with
mm,
mine
mhm,
because I'm fussy about my vaginal microbiome. I
mhm,
keep it pristine and I don't like to
mhm,
introduce any bacterias that aren't my particular
Mhm.
vaginal biome
For
makeup.
sure. Protective of the pH.
And it's a lot of things. I mean, different it tends to cluster in ethnicity because of the foods that are eaten and
Mhm.
the way the biome is passed down through the birth canal into
Mm.
the child. Um, but really, it was so sweet. The last weekend, I had a foursome.
Mhm.
I'm in a relationship with my husband and my boyfriend has a new girlfriend, and she met us and loved us, and we liked her, and so now we're having some foursomes, and it's
Mhm.
really fun. I haven't done that in a long time. And, right when they were making love, I heard my husband say to her, "Oh, Susan doesn't like it if
Mm.
like, if I enter her after I've entered you, I'll need to get up and take a quick shower." And she's a doctor, which is great, like, she totally
Mhm.
that doesn't make
Mhm.
her feel bad, she totally gets it. But it's like, it made me feel so I was like, I hadn't had a foursome, I hadn't had sex with another woman in so long that I'd forgotten my own boundary, and my husband remembered it, and
Mm.
I was just like, "You see how great my man is?" Like that.
Mhm.
Oh, mwah.
Like, he's taking
God
care of
love
me, he's
him.
listening, he remembered. That makes me
He
feel
is
yeah.
managing my boundaries.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I had a conversation with him. Well, she confided in me that she's like, I'm nervous, I'm scared. Like she's about like the connection that you guys have, and I'm like, look, like I want to add to the dynamic. I want y'all to add to my life. If this is going to cause too much of a rupture or something like that, I will see myself out. Like, I don't want to bring that kind of energy in, but I'm glad
Right,
that
you
she
wanna keep
voiced
it
it and
joy.
spoke to it. And I understand like the, shaky feeling or the nervousness or foundations, like especially because it's relatively new for them as well. And so it's like we're going super slow, like very slow, which is A-okay with me as far as,
Yes.
like, I want everyone to feel, like, grounded and safe in their decisions. There's been, like, big T and little t traumas in all of our lives, so we're like, "How do we go into this in a conscious, intentional, heart-expanding way, versus, like, just rushing into something and, um, or having too many," they're both sober too, so it's like there's no, extraneous, activities, and I was gonna tell you, like, I also agree with, like, the clit stimulation. I love tantra and, like, have had some different bodywork sessions, and to me, I've had, like, some kind of psychedelic, pleasure-induced altered states of consciousness just through touch and just through, like, sensual exploration and experiences and feelings. I'm like, "What is that? What did I tap into?" And, like, to find God through sex whenever it's
Right.
like it's interesting, like, okay, I grew up thinking that, "Oh, if I do this or da, da, da," but also the taboo turned me on, and it gave me that
Mhm,
sense of aliveness,
mhm.
and I don't know where I'm going with this,
Why do
but
you think religion tries to suppress sexuality?
because it's so
Because if you
powerful,
because
and
if you can connect to God without them, why the fuck
mm,
come sit in the church pew and tithe?
so mic drop.
Control.
Yeah, control,
Right,
fear-based, manipulation, mm, and
right. I'm
so
uncontrollable. So are you.
oh, I love
You are a woman who cannot be controlled. You are in control of yourself.
mm,
You are the control.
mm,
You decide. I love that.
mm.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
On your threesome coming up, what are there any, like, sexy things that you're thinking about? Like, are you having any, like, sexy fantasies about certain things you wanna do? Like, you have any, like, experiences you wanna have, sex positions you wanna have, anything like that?
Well, I'm definitely feeling drawn to explore more with her.
Mhm.
Because I had that like in the younger years or settings, like, taboo, like maybe as a kid, we would sneak away and like kiss and play or like play doctor or those sort of things. And so there's a little like nervousness, like, oh my God, like I know a woman's body, but like to have it, the practice and experience with another woman. But I'm really craving like that sensuality and that softness and the desire to kiss and please and oral and just all of that juiciness and touch. And I also love like even just like forehanded like massages and weaving in like the 5 elements or like the different types of touch. And because that helps bring me into my body when it's like, I don't know whose hand is where, or there's like different sensations, whether it's fiery or whether it's earth or more watery. I'm like, whoa, like I've felt so much pleasure before that I'm like, I would love to experiment with that with them.
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring some, like, different like, maybe, like, a different feather or, like, this, like, little chain thing for, like, a different cooling sensation just to kinda, like, glide across the body.
Mhm.
So we'll see and play, and have conversations. So I definitely have that, but
You
she and
you
I haven't
remind me.
actually been intimate yet together, so
Oh,
we
that'll be fun.
yeah. So we'll
You're
see.
reminding me of an Austin-based couple who has a brand called litup.love,
Mm,
and they have all kinds of adorable sensation play toys that I think you would
mm.
like. They have everything from little scratchy claws. It's lit up,
I might
Litup dot Love. And, they have the cutest stuff. They have, these little furry mitts, and they have the chains, and they have little floggery things.
mm.
I'd take a little suitcase full of some of that
I
kind
know,
of stuff
I
with
know, I'm
me
like, I
because
might
I
have to
think
check a
you're gonna
bag.
like that.
It might be a fun experience to go through customs, like, "Girl"
Oh god,
I
I
did have
know.
a situation one time where I took, like I was, like, in Mexico with someone and, my suitcase started vibrating, and I was like, "Oh my god." They're like, Ma'am, your toothbrush is going off," or something. I was like, "Yeah, my toothbrush." Which I guess in a pinch if you want, but so, yeah, no, I'm like,
Yeah.
I might have to, like, actually check a bag, which I don't like to do, but
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
It's funny when I come to Austin, you know how Austin has the baggage claim where it comes down
Mhm.
the ramp onto the carousels? My suitcase is always vibrating down that ramp. I always joke like, "Hey, if you see a suitcase vibrating on a carousel, look around, you'll probably find me."
Yeah. Like, that's like the air tag, like the pin bar, the sonar radar, like, going off like the
Well, I wanna give you a couple of ideas
Yeah, for sure.
for your
Please
3.
do.
So, one of them is that I always like to have, like, an opening circle where we all
Mm.
sit around and we talk about our desires, our
Mhm.
fears, and our boundaries,
Mhm.
and that gets us connected, touching, heart connected, looking at each other, being really present,
Mm.
and it kind of brings down the fear a little bit
Mhm.
because you're all doing that, and then once you've kind of gotten all that out, I like when we do this, I don't know, kind of like, idea roundtable where we take turns throwing out ideas for
Mm.
things we could do.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be that you're going to do it. And you
Mhm.
could say, "I'm not even sure I want to do this, but it's been in my mind," you
Mhm.
know? And, I think that's a really, really fun thing to do because certain people have certain ways they think about sex, and it's really
Mhm.
fun to think about the difference. Like, my husband, if I say to him, "Okay, we're having a foursome. What are some of the sex positions we could do?" He'll be like, "Well, okay, let's see." And he'll come up with like 17 different sex positions. He's really good at, of course, depending on the body dynamics, you know? He's so cute. He's always the
At
one
this
that we're
angle
like,
and with this velocity and
we're always like, "Tim, give us some sex position ideas," you know? It's so cute. And there are a couple that I really like in a male, one man, two woman, so FMF
Mhm.
is what that's called, FMF, triad, and, or threesome, and one of them is that it's really fun to give the guy what's called a dually blow. Have you ever heard of that?
I'm getting an image in my head right now.
It's
But
basically where you 2 are, so we did this in our foursome last week, it was really fun. One one of the guys laid down flat, and one woman was riding his face, and the
Mm,
other woman was riding his man cannon, and they were facing each other. We were facing each other, and then the second man was standing up, and his man hammer was, I'm just trying to use a bunch of words
yeah,
that
no,
aren't
I'm
like
like, melt I was
flag.
like, "Can" I'm like, "Hell yes."
Yes, his man hammer, he kind of put it so the girls we're in an what's called an
Mhm.
A-frame on top of the bottom man, but then the second man kinda slid
Mhm.
his man cannon in between us, and we, like,
Mhm.
fought for it with our
Yeah.
lips.
Well, that was a better visual than even I imagined.
Isn't that cute?
Yes,
It's
yes.
fun because everybody's getting
Mhm.
stimulated, and it's a lot of fun.
Sometimes I've and sometimes when I've experimented with 69 or something before, I'm like, "Maybe you can give me an insider tip on this." It's like, how do I'm focusing on giving pleasure, but also
Yeah, oh, that's
receiving
good.
it, and
Mhm.
so "How do I be in 2 places at once?" kinda thing, I'm like, "This feels so good, I just wanna, surrender into that. Oh, but I wanna please you," and so I'm like, I don't how do you navigate that?
Yes, there's a couple of things.
Okay.
The first is continuously take your pleasure.
Mm.
Rather than thinking that you're doing
Mhm.
someone else, you're just being in the
Mm.
scenario.
Mm.
And when you're taking your pleasure from both ends in whatever way is happening in that moment, and you're not trying to make anything happen, which you're good at, you're experiencing the flow of the pleasure.
Mm.
Some moments your attention is on the bottom half, some moments your
Mm.
attention is on the top half, and it toggles back and forth. And toggling is actually going to heighten your pleasure
Mm.
because when you toggle, you're toggling your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, and you're
Oh.
also which heightens arousal.
Mhm.
And you're also doing something called peaking. Peaking is part of the expanded orgasm practice. By the way, let me give you a link to that. And I'll send this to you. For your listeners, if you want to know more about this expanded orgasm practice, because it teaches you how to have the practice in 21 erotic play dates.
Mm.
You could do them in 3 weeks or you could do them in 3 years. And
Oh.
I think about each one of these erotic play dates as incrementing your knowledge about the expanded orgasm practice and adding to your skill set in 21 different ways that really
Mm.
establishes fantastic partner relationship. Because the expanded orgasm practice, like everything, what you're really doing is you're getting into a heart connection coherence and you're getting into a
Mm.
limbic connection,
Mm.
especially because for you, Kristen, you're very sensually,
Mhm.
tactily oriented. You like all the different sensations, the
Mhm.
sensual, the sexual, the
Mhm.
healing, the nurturing. These are the different kinds of touch that are as
Mhm.
defined by Sherry Winston, who
Mm.
wrote one of the seminal books in female pleasure called Women's Anatomy of Arousal.
Mm.
So that's a good thing. But this expanded orgasm practice, essentially, one of the techniques that it teaches you is called peaking.
Mm.
And actually, we give that technique away as a free download when you go to expandherorgasmtonight.com.
Mm.
You get 3 free pleasure reports that teach you what is an expanded orgasm, how does it work, a technique called touching for rapture, which I
Mm.
think you should read before you go.
Yeah.
You'll really like it, and the power of peaking. And what peaking does is, let's just say you're delivering some sensation, right? You're going
Mhm.
down on this woman and you're
Mhm.
delivering sensation. When you deliver it and you're, pleasuring her clitoral tip, her
Mhm.
glands, 'cause of course, the clitoral structure is, glands, a shaft, 2 arms called
Mhm.
crura, 2 legs called vestibular bulbs under the labia majora, as well as the urethral
Mhm.
sponge, which is a tube of tissue, and the perineal sponge, which is a mass of tissue on the floor underneath the vagina. So the whole entire vaginal cavern is surrounded by erectile tissue
Mm.
that needs about 20 minutes in the female body to come to the same
Mm.
erectile situation
Mm.
that the male body gets to in a minute or 2.
Mm.
And so when you're stimulating her and it's feeling really good and you've got that limbic connection and she's really enjoying herself, take a pause
Mm.
and then continue. And what happens is the body naturally goes, "Oh, I want more." And it leans toward the pleasure, which takes the
Mm.
pleasure up some more.
Mm.
And so the peaking is a really most people, they're just like taking pleasure more, 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 harder, faster, harder, faster, harder, and it's like, that's what you learn in porn, and that's not how the
Mm.
female body, that's not what
Mhm.
that's just for the male patriarchal masturbatory gaze.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Is peeking also called edging like that or
No.
no, is it okay.
Edging is this is another thing. So edging is when you get yourself to the moment of climax, but you don't take yourself
Mhm.
past it, and that helps you get into the feeling of becoming ready to orgasm. But in expanded orgasm, what you're actually doing is you're taking her over the falls, because women don't need this refractory period of the male ejaculatory
Mhm.
orgasmic pattern that is what we all think is orgasm. Again, that comes from the 1960s Masters and Johnson studying male orgasm and showing how it climbs, and then they ejaculate and they've peaked and then they drop off a cliff and they need time to recover. That's not at all really how our bodies work.
Mm.
That's just one of the 20 kinds of orgasm.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so the peaking is essentially making you reach for the
Like
pleasure,
yearn, like
and it
like, "Yes,
takes
more
you
please," like
higher.
the
Yes, and you get it, and then it's like, "Ah!" But edging is getting up to the
Mm.
moment, but not going over, and expanded orgasm is you
Like
take
more of
her
the
up, she has an orgasm, but what it teaches her how to do is when she gets to that point of ecstatic climax, she stays there, and you deliver sensation so steady for her that it allows her to take the moment of climax and stretch it
Mm.
out like taffy was tied.
Mm.
And so she's going in and she's going, "Oh, like that, right? So that's like a really long come. But the orgasm practice, the way that that stroking technique works, she can do that again and
Mm.
again and
Mm.
again, and it can go longer and longer and become more and more and more
Mm.
intense. So,
I'm like, "What was that link again?"
and her orgasm tonight
Okay.
com.
I'll also
Yeah,
send this to my local lover.
and that's what I was thinking for your cuddle bug.
Yeah.
Give give
Well, we
that
do other
person.
things too, but, like, he's like,
Yeah,
we yeah, there's a lot of cuddling, there's a lot of intimacy. It's
good,
fairly new.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that will be a good practice for you guys. Do those 21 erotic play dates
Beautiful.
within Expanded
Mm.
Orgasm Tonight. Teach him the clitoral stroking practice.
Mm.
That you can't get done on a weekend, 3-day fuck fest in Mexico. You can't get there,
Yeah.
but you can with your local research partner.
Yeah, I love it. I'm like, "Hey, you wanna do some research?" I'm like, my new favorite emoji might be, like, the guy with the little glasses and, like, then the little horny dude. I'm like, "We can speak in code." I love to have my
I
research
like
partner so close.
them too. Another thing that's really fun is like, let's just say maybe you could go down on your new girlfriend while your new boyfriend is doggy style behind you.
Mhm.
So she can see him doing
Mhm.
you while you're doing her.
Mhm.
That's a
Question
nice set her
I
going,
love that.
"Come
I
on."
like, that's an erotic image and, like, interaction for me. What would you suggest, like, if jealousy comes up in a moment like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, for her or, like, if she sees it and she's like, "Oh, this is bringing up something," or, if in that scenario too.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. The first is that when you start, you wanna make in your circle, when you're having
Mhm.
your opening circle,
Mhm.
you want to make the agreement that everybody's job is to say The moment they feel spun out,
Mm,
disconnected, jealous, worried, um, not included, what have you, any of those things, your job, we need you to promise to the other two of us that you're going to be like, "Hey, you guys, I'm
mhm,
help me out here,"
mm,
because we can't know what's going on inside you, and we don't want this to
mhm,
bite us in the ass at the end where you were like, "You guys, I wasn't really enjoying myself and nobody even noticed." Like, we
mm,
cannot tell what we're thinking.
mhm,
You must tell us. This is our agreement. We're making a pact here that
mhm.
you just go, "Hey, guys, bring me back in,"
Beautiful.
or whatever.
Yeah, no, I
That
love that. Yeah, because I love the magic and the mystery, but I'm not a fucking mind reader right now. That also reinforces the
would
sovereignty of, like, the
Mhm.
triad and, like, okay, like, "Hey, I'm feeling a little I need a little extra TLC," or, like, "Can we have, like, a little pause or a group," yeah, okay, beautiful.
Group hug.
I love
And
the
then
opening circle idea too.
the opening circle's nice. And then
Mhm,
the second thing, and this took me probably not 100 threesomes to get to, but, you know, quite a few, 30 or 40. And that just takes practice. You'll get that if you like this couple and you have a good time in your 1.0, you can do it some more and you'll get really good together.
mm,
And then it
mm,
gets so hot and sexy. And the thing that I recommend is that you think about it this way, especially in in group sex. Let's just say you and the woman have a really good connection
mhm,
and you're feeling really good about each other, and
mhm,
she's doing something to you. Maybe she's like playing with your boobs and giving you nipple-gasms
mhm,
and making out with you, and it's super hot.
mhm,
And maybe you're sitting on the lap of the man and he's inside you, but you're kind of just moving a little bit, that sounds fun.
mhm,
Um, I love nipple-gasms, and I didn't even used to think I had good boobs, like, in my 30s. When I was your age, I didn't even think my boobs looked good. My boobs were so beautiful,
mm,
and I thought there was something wrong with them, that they weren't pretty or whatever, until I had the opportunity to ride in the Critical Tits event at Burning Man one year. My girlfriend's, she's like, "You're going." I'm like, "I don't wanna go. I'm embarrassed. I don't think I can be topless." She's like, "Bitch, you're going." And so she's like, "Let's go." She grabs my hand, she gets me on my bike, and she makes me ride. And I looked and I'm like, "Oh my God, I just saw 10,000 tits and my tits look great. My tits are fine." You know what I mean?
ah, I
And
love
so
it.
then I realized, oh, tits are all beautiful, just like vulvas, yonis. I like to
Mhm.
call them yonis.
Mhm, me too.
Yoni. That's the tantric lovemaking word.
Mhm.
With your listeners, the tantric lovemaking word for the female genital system with a spiritual
Mhm.
component to it. And it's better than vulva, which is the outside, or vagina, which is it's the inside, very patriarchal, like, "Oh, the only thing that matters is where you stick your dick, fuck you,"
Mhm.
right? I don't like that. And so I like yoni, and lingam is the penis, prostate,
Mhm.
testicle connection. They're reverential. So when you are feeling each other, and this is really a part of that Touch for Rapture book I mentioned earlier. So you're in this thing where you're feeling her, she's feeling you. You're having your boob gasms, you're kissing gasms, you're pleasuring, you're having this connection. But you're also like literally you've got the cock of another guy inside you. Let me rephrase that. Literally you have the man staff of this human being inside you.
The wand of
And
consciousness.
the wand of consciousness, I love it. Yes, yes, yes. You've got the wand of consciousness of her husband
Yeah, yeah.
inside. And, now you're like, "Right, I'm toggling my attention between
Mm.
my mo with her," it's the 69 thing all over again,
Mhm.
"and my experience with him," and that's perfectly fine, there's no hurry, I'm just
Mm.
going back and forth in my experience, but here's what I'm doing next. This is like the next level. The next level is, "Wow, I am feeling her, and I can feel her feeling me. Oh, wow, I'm feeling him." And I can feel him feeling me. But now they're feeling each other. They're
Mm.
connected. She's holding on to his shoulder while she's kissing me and playing with my breast. And, she's enjoying watching me enjoy him. And so now they're connected. And now I feel them feeling each other
Mm.
through me. So what
Mhm.
you're doing is you're setting up these limbic love connections, these
Mm.
circuits of pleasure, one between us, one for the 3 of us. I
Mhm.
feel the 2 of them. You begin to have a deeply connected pleasure circuit that's basically like thrumming through you all that
Mhm.
gets more and more and more turned on
Mhm.
because they feel you feeling them. They feel you feeling the 2 of them. They can feel you feeling that. They know. So practice that. Bring your
Mm.
awareness
Mhm.
into the ethereal, into the limbic, into that, so you're in your heart space,
Mhm.
sensation space, you're in your energetic space, and all of that, remember, you're just practicing. It's a practice.
Mm.
Pleasure is
Mhm.
just a a presence practice, a mindfulness practice.
Mm.
Bringing yourself back to heart,
Mm.
bringing yourself back to connection,
Mhm.
slowing down. We're not making porn here.
Mm-mm.
It's not friction. We're not
Mm.
rubbing genitals to get off. It's
Mhm.
action.
It's like a sexual
Yes.
meditation. I love that.
Yeah, so that's a nice kind of thing to go for. Like, when you sit
Mhm.
in your open circle and you're just like, "One of the things I'd like to presence is that I'd like us to really be feeling each other in the heart space
Mm.
and connection and in the
Mhm.
energy connection, and let's practice those things." So, one is, if you feel left out, raise your hand. We will be
Mhm.
immediately loving on you. And the
Mhm.
second one is we're connecting in these different realms. And there's a third one that's really nice, and that is feel free to stop and rest as much as you want because when
Mm.
you're making love for days, you gotta pace yourself, drink a lot of water, have a lot of fruit. I like grapes and things like that, so you're really hydrating and all that stuff. That's really nice. And when you take the breaks, you're in each other's arms, you're
Mm.
laughing, giggling, and you're doing what I love, and this is another Dr. Patty technique. This is why I carry on her work,
Mhm.
because she's not going on 100 podcasts a year and sharing this
Mm.
anymore.
Mhm.
She The work that she wrote really is so important. She taught us how to be poly 20 years ago. She taught us how to have this practice, and that is something called sharing frames.
Mm.
And it's really meant to be a snapshot, like a frame around a moment, like a Polaroid of a beautiful moment that you just experienced.
Mm.
So while you're lying there resting and hydrating and snuggling, take a moment, say, "Hey, who wants to share a frame?"
Mm.
Moment when I was sitting on your lap and you were inside me and your wife was kissing me and giving me nipple gas.
Mm.
I could feel the love and thrill of your conscious, what did you call it? Your conscious.
Or like the sex is meditation. Oh, and the wand of consciousness or the yeah.
I could feel your wand of consciousness pulsating with
Mm.
love, respect, and appreciation, and I could feel this gush of lubrication because that is what turns me on so much, is the feeling of being filled with your love, right?
Mm.
Like, I'm just making shit up, like
Well,
that. I don't know
no,
what's
no, but
gonna
I love
come
it,
off.
and I love those snapshots and, like, those moments and, like, the things that we'll carry with us and, like, maybe
Mhm.
reminisce when we're doing some, like, task or, like, or give us something else to springboard on and create. And I was gonna tell
Exactly.
you, I was like, if I were wearing panties, I'd probably have to change them right now. I'm
Yeah.
so turned on, but we have about 3 minutes left.
I know, it goes so
So,
fast.
yeah, so I was gonna ask if there's anything else that you wanna share or put in right here, to kinda close in and cap off our conversation, at least our first one,
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm like, "Girl, I want you in Austin in person."
Definitely
And I
was.
will get the girl gangs together.
It'd be so fun. I would love that.
Mhm.
I guess because I can sense that you're a bit auditory,
Mm.
I would say that, moan a lot. Just a lot of moaning. Just be loud. Let them know it's feeling good. And
Mhm.
moaning is a learned skill. You when you start to do it, you're actually training your body to make auditory signals of what your felt experience is.
Mm.
And your body will naturally begin to do this as you let the limiter off of her.
Mhm.
You've got 2 sets of lips, one on your pants, one on your head. Well, the one on your mouth, the one up on your head wants to speak for the one on your pants if
Mm.
you let her. And so you gotta give her full-throated, unthrottled opportunity to speak her pleasure.
Mm.
And when you do that, it just raises the roof on pleasure for everybody because they're getting the biofeedback they know that they need to know that they're doing a good job. So it's a gift you're giving your lovers
Mm.
is moaning. And then to ratchet it up some more, I have a little ebook called The Dirty Talk Book, How to Talk Dirty Without Feeling Weird. And I think you should download that. It's a free book,
Yes.
dirtytalkbook.com, because it teaches you how to share frames, but it teaches you 4 other techniques that are basically verbal communication, sensual communication techniques that are not like porn, like, "Oh, you dirty
Mm.
little son." Oh, it's
Mhm.
none of that.
Mm.
It's really sexy, and
Yes.
so I think
Oh.
you'll like that because you'll be bringing opening circle, limbic connection, your
Mhm.
heart, your moaning, your dirty talk, your frames. Girl, they're gonna be so lucky to have a threesome with you.
I've got some
You're ready
homework to do.
you're ready for this.
Some
You
fun
were
some play
born
work.
for this.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, no, I'll just share one little quick snippet. Yeah, the other day I was with my local research partner, and he's French, so he was, whispering French into my ear, and I was
God.
like, "I have no idea what you're fucking saying, but this is incredible." And, like, I was like, "Oh." And then he
I
go
think you might be auditory in your kinesthetic state.
okay, yeah, I'm like, "I think
My
you."
husband is, and
Yeah.
he loves the moaning, and he loves me to tell him dirty stories while I make love.
Mm. Mm.
He likes nothing better than for me to hop on pop and tell him a dirty story and take him over and over and over into pleasure. So, you might be like that too. Some of us are visual, I'm a visual.
Mhm.
Some of us are auditory, and some of us are just kinesthetic, and
Mm.
it's really good to know which one is your, like,
Mm.
lead. We're all 3, but it's good to know which
Mhm.
is your lead
Mm.
one so that, you can kind of really use it to your
Mhm.
advantage,
Beautiful.
deepen your pleasure.
Ooh. I love it. Yes. Thank you, queen.
Here we go. I am expecting a delicious report
Hell
upon your
yeah. I'll do my, recap. Thank you so
sounds great.
much, Susan.
Welcome. Yeah, so if anybody wants to find me, you can find me at betterlover.com.
Mm.
That's where my newsletter, where I teach all these things, you get them for free. And if you ever have a question for me, you can reply to the email that you get from me, and I'll answer you. Sometimes it takes me a while. I stack them up and I churn through all the replies, but I'm here to help. And thank you so much for having me today.
Oh
I
my
really enjoyed our
ugh,
conversation.
I've been looking forward to it, and, like, any expectation that I had, you, like surpassed it and, like, blew it
Good.
open, so thank you so much,
My pleasure.
and I'll, text you after this, and so you'll have my contact information too.
Sounds good.
Mwah.
Bye.